Welcome back to Houston Real Estate Radio. I hope you're having a great Sunday afternoon. If you're just tuning in and you missed the first segment, you can hear it and see the videos at HoustonRealEstateRadio.com. I'm here in the studio with James Brown, and Randie Williams is joining us. He is the office manager at State Farm, agent Robert Locke over in Spring, Texas. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent.
Good. So there's a lot that homeowners need to know when it comes to insurance. I think that some people worried they're underinsured, some people worried they're overinsured, and some people just don't know much about it at all. Exactly. Tell us what we need to know.
Well, I would say that there are three things that you definitely need to make sure of. Whether you have enough coverage for sure, right? How reputable is the company that you're doing business with? Do they pay their claims? And I would look through the TDI for something like that, right?
Is there a website you can go to for that?
Yeah, if you go to TDI, Texas Department of Insurance.gov, that's normally a good website. They also have an independent comparison tool on there where you can compare different companies and what they cover. That way you'll see it doesn't matter what they cover if they're not paying it, right?
Right.
But that way you can see policies side by side. What are the differences? What do they cover and what do they not cover?
Is it still an advantage to have your homeowners with your auto insurance and all of your other insurances bundled together?
For your major insurance companies, yes. Now, a lot of what you're seeing more and more is certain insurance companies are only wanting certain markets, right? Like, for instance, a company that doesn't pay their claims might go after a new housing market and give you a teaser rate, and then 5 years in, your price for your insurance has quadrupled. So you'll switch because they don't want that business. They don't want to have to pay out a single dollar. So you look at a large insurance company that has maybe $2-3 billion in assets and revenue and reserves and all that kind of stuff, and then they only paid a limited amount of claims when they're the second largest home insurance company out there. It just makes you scratch your head.
Yeah. How can they say in the policy they're going to cover something and not cover it? How do they get away with that?
Because they can outlast you in court, quite honestly. That's what it comes down to. Plus, if you've ever committed any kind of fraud towards an insurance company, by law, some of these policies have it written in there that they don't have to pay your claim.
Now, fraud, most people are going to say they've never committed fraud. What do you mean by fraud?
Well, that could just be lying to someone when they're asking, when an insurance agent is asking you whether you've had an accident. Maybe you didn't remember it. Maybe it wasn't your fault. But you're seeing that more and more with companies where they'll ask you, hey, have you had any claims? Maybe you had a claim, but you decided not to claim it. Your neighbor's kid backed into your garage, some damage. Instead of claiming it, you and your neighbor settled it out. And then they're like, oh, well, I see a zero paid out claim back in 2009 for you, and you say, oh, well, I've never had any claims. Well, at that point, they consider that grounds to not pay the claim, which is kind of chicken scratch, of course. But there are companies out there that will do that to you, which is kind of sad. So
you can get penalized for not filing a claim? Is that what you're saying? If you and your neighbor take care of that incident? No,
you can't. It's always better. In Texas, homeowners policies are no longer maintenance policies, right? It used to be the case. $500 deductible, anything, you could use it even for something that you should have fixed but you couldn't. That's no longer the case. If the only things that applies to is there's one company out there on the market, State Farm, that will allow you to add a water endorsement on there that can be used as a maintenance thing. If you saw something and didn't fix it, it'll still fix it. But we're the only ones to my knowledge in the market that offer that. So, it's always better not to file a claim. Your claims are left for your emergencies. The hurricane comes in, you got $25,000 worth of damage, or a pipe burst up in your upstairs, and you have to take out the sheetrock, dry it out, and we're talking $30,000, $45,000, $50,000 repair. Then that's something you file a claim on. You don't want to file a claim for a roof repair that was $300 more than your deductible. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that usually, I guess the home warranty market is something you guys are not in, but that's, there's quite a few companies that provide that kind of coverage.
Yeah, and there's some great companies out there. I carry a home warranty on my house. I've used it several times. It's paid off, a couple times. So, I think that's a good pair up.
So how can people avoid insurance scams out there? I mean, what do we need to know? Because if you're not in the business, you really don't know what's going on. So what would you say to just the general population out there that are trying to get homeowners insurance and, they could be getting scammed? What do we need to know?
Well, typically the bigger companies, right, are going to pay out their claims better. So if you look at, one of your majors, your Travelers, your Liberty Mutual, State Farm, Allstate, Farmers, those companies are going to do what their policy says it's supposed to do, right? And then you just have to look at in insurance, especially homeowners insurance in the state of Texas, you're going to get what you pay for most of the time. So if you're looking for the cheapest insurance company out there, the cheapest one is normally the one that's not going to take care of you.
Okay.
And then limited peril policies too, things that only carry 7 or 10 different perils. So everyone covers hurricanes, everyone covers thefts, everyone's going to cover your basic stuff. But if a drunk driver hits your house, drives into your house, which I've had 6 times last year, believe it or not.
Do they not cover that?
No, most companies don't. Now we do.
Because my neighbor down the street had that happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. So most companies would not cover that because it's not on the list of covered perils. Now, in order for it not to be covered on my policy, it has to be outlined. So the only things that aren't covered are earthquakes, volcanoes, and nuclear bombs, and that's it.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen.
I think, insurance will be the last thing on our minds, right?
All right, what about crime rates? We hear crime's going up in the Houston area because we have so many people moving here every day. So we just, as a general rule of thumb, we hear that crime is going up. I mean, everybody you talk to, you hear that. What do you think about that?
I'm seeing triple the amount of burglaries even from 2 years ago. The reason being is because what's happening is people are noticing that people in our economy are making money, right? People, because of the oil business, because of the many things, the growth and everything else, this is the place where it's at. And so you'll see even people traveling from out of town to here just in order to commit these crimes against the people that work hard. And they watch you and watch when you leave work. And as soon as you're out the door, they're kicking in your back door, robbing your house, and you don't even realize it. So, I mean, stuff like alarms and stuff like that really comes into play and helps out a lot. Pit bulls whenever necessary.
No, I thought a lot of insurance policies wouldn't let you have pit bulls these days.
But I do. So.
Okay.
Now, how does that crime rate affect my insurance rate? If I've never had a break-in, am I in danger of my rates going up if there's crime in the neighborhood around me?
Of course. Yeah, because insurance is the spread of risk over large numbers of people. So you may have not ever had a claim, but because of the wildfires in the state of Texas, right, because of the crime, all 3 houses around you have been robbed, and your neighbor, Susie Q, down the street, she just had a pipe burst, and she had a $125,000 claim. And so all that goes into factor for your rates.
Wow.
So that's why everyone is getting a rate increase this year. Every single company in the state of Texas filed for a rate increase with the TDI, and a third of them pulled out of the Texas market altogether. It's the worst market since Florida.
Now, what about the companies that aren't in Texas necessarily? Let's say they're based in another state. Are they still raising rates to be
Yeah, every
competitive in
company that
Texas?
sells insurance in
Okay.
the state of Texas is
Okay.
registered with the TDI.
Okay, so talk to me about these detached garages. We have a ton of those here in the area. I mean, I sell houses every day that have detached garages. What do we need to know about that?
Well, just ask a couple questions. Are there different provisions for a detached garage for something to be covered than an attached garage? Because they don't consider it to be part of the house. So something like
I never would have thought that.
Exactly.
Just assumed if it's a garage, it's part of the house, no matter how big the breezeway is between.
I don't even ask when I'm asking people because I know that's covered the same way with my company either way. But some companies would say something like, if you left the door unlocked, right, it's not covered. In my
The
experience,
little side door, back
Exactly.
door. Okay.
I had an experience with a company I had prior to State Farm, Liberty Mutual, right, which is a great company, right? Somebody busted out the lock of the front of my garage. It's obvious they busted it out. I mean, they took the whole lock out, opened up my garage, $15,000 worth of stuff was walking down the street, probably getting sold on Craigslist, right? So I made the claim. They came out. They did their little investigation, made the list, thought I was getting a check. They denied the claim because my side door was unlocked and my garage was detached from my house.
Wow.
And it's in their policy. So there's nothing I can do. There's no argument I can make.
Now, I don't have a detached garage. I mean, my garage is attached to my house, and I know that little side door, not the big garage overhead door, but that little side door is part of my alarm system. But in your case, or in your experience on detached garages, are they not part of the home alarm system?
Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't.
Okay, so that's a choice the consumer has when they put in the alarm or get their monitoring service.
Exactly. And sometimes mine was done in broad daylight while I was at home taking a nap.
Oh, wow, you were there.
I was there sleeping.
Ooh,
That's painful.
Scary, yeah.
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate the information. And if you are not a homeowner and you rent, it's still important to have insurance. So remember to get your renter's insurance. You can get that with your car insurance as well, with your auto insurance, and bundle it up, right?
Yeah, most of the time it's cheaper that way. I mean, I've had customers where I added the renter's insurance. I saved them $30 or $40 a month. So you just never know.
All right. Well, give us a call, 281-882-8088, and share your insurance stories with us. We want to hear about them. I know you have them. We've had hurricanes and lots of other things come through Houston, so I know you've got them. I hear them from my customers, and I want to hear them from you. Give me a call, 281-882-8088, and we'll share your stories on there. We'll be right back.